So I'm gonna call this one the red pill versus reality. Um, on the surface level, is the red pill good? Yes, I think it has motivated and maybe improved men's life. It's improved me to work out more. Wasn't for the red pill, actually, I wouldn't be working out more. But the thing about the red pill, you have to be realistic of what they're teaching you. So, just from a surface point of view, you have to understand who these creators are and the narrative that they're pushing. So just in general, if you're a content creator, you're trying to create awareness so the algorithm can push your videos and maybe you can make money through AdSense and just advertising a product. So I know like there's other like they'll say like Manscape and all this kind of stuff. That's just one example. But the thing is that it's you have to understand who's your audience. So how old are you? Where do you live? What experience do you have? So do you have experience or no experience with women or just in general life? What kind of upbringing or culture? What upbringing or what culture do you have? So, for example, if you're living in a small town, you know, hypergamy is true, but like how realistic is it? I know because of social media, you see things now, but the issue with the red pill, it picks on the worst of women. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but for example, Fresh and Fit, they'll bring women that have little to no logic onto their podcast to promote a point. Not saying what they're saying isn't true, but it's not 110% accurate. So I've seen clips where they brought women that can't name countries outside of Mexico, America, and Canada, which is quite odd. And then, you know, there's certain things people don't know, like the general knowledge. So there's a lot of things people don't know from just mathematics and spelling, and I'm guilty of that. So, but the issue with the red pill, it brings certain women to prove their point. Another issue is that with not to be picky on Fresh and Fit is that they'll bring women that have an OF account, and what happens is that once they get onto their podcast, when they go out get off of it, their OF subscriber goes up. So that says a lot about their audience as well and about what he's trying to promote. And if they have any decency and common sense, they'll bring women that have a good morals and ethics, that are married or in healthy relationships, and push that forward and say these are the type of women you need to marry, and this type of relationship you need to have. You know, another thing with the red pill is that it always money, power, and all that kind of stuff. It's true, but like, what exactly what kind of women does that bring? Do you have the characteristics? Do you have the right character? Do you have the right knowledge? And when I mean character, like, are you a good person? Being good is relevant to each individual or culture, but like, are you a genuinely good person? Are you helpful? Do you have good integrity, morals? Maybe from a religious point of view, or just from a um, holistic point of view, from a spiritual point of view. That's one thing about the red pill I will say as well. And it just picks on the worst and worst, and it downplays men's flaws as well. Not saying that men don't have flaws, but it downplays it. And I think it's very important to understand that like we're a human being and we're better together than we are apart. Um, that's the kind of my main kind of issues with the red pill. But I think on the surface of it is good. But the thing, when it comes to the age range, it's like who are these men? Like, how did they find the red pill? What's their perspective on life? What are they doing? What aren't they doing? And that's one of the issues I think with the red pill. It doesn't address certain things properly. Not saying that they're not wrong, but it's not accurate information. Because at the end of the day, we all can't be millionaires and billionaires. I think, and no matter how much money you have, you're only going to be, you know, easier to deal with because you have money. You wanna be around women that genuinely like it for you. I think when you have money, you're just more easy. You're just more acceptable to a portion of women. You're just gonna attract more gold diggers. And at the end of the day, most people are average, and there's nothing wrong with being average. But maybe you should strive. As human beings, as men especially, we should strive for more. And the thing I don't get about the red pill is that they will tell you about family unity, but they'll tell you have different wives. Like, how can you have different girlfriends and take care of your family from an emotional point of view? Like, you need to know where your kids are. Like, you can't just have money and tell your wife to take care of your kids. You need to know, spend time with your kids, see what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, maybe how they're going on in school, their friends. and change the behavior. Just watch the behavior, say be there. If they have an activity or sport, be there. Be physically and emotionally present. Give them life advice. You say, actually, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. Have you considered this? Not just do this, not just on a surface level, but push it forward. The other thing is that what the red pill aside, it's not it's telling you about family unity, but at the end of the day, most people aren't rich, so we both gotta work, in my opinion, because most people don't make above a certain amount of money, and that's just a reality. And you don't need a bunch of tens and nines, because beauty only goes so far. And I think once you get to know someone, looks can only go so far. It's going to be more than looks, especially in the long term. If two people can't come together and be useful, it's not going to work. Because money does bring people together, but it doesn't bring the actual care in place. So it's like having it's like having a nurse you pay, but when it's your parent or someone's a relative taking care of you, it's gonna be done with more love and care. That's just the best example I can give. So there's nothing wrong with the red pill, but be practical about what you're listening to, who you're listening to, where in life are you, and that's pretty much it. I don't get too deep with the black pill, but these dudes need to relax, man. I'm not saying it's not true, but try to maximize your looks as well. I get, but looks maximum only goes so far. You know, Stuff like your ethnicity and age you cannot change. Maybe you can make sure you're well groomed. You have the right social circle and you have activities and hobbies. Even if you exaggerate on social media, maybe you take pictures, you look up ventures and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it about addressing the red pill. I appreciate you listening to my opinions if you watch the whole video. And again, just go out there, live your life, try and do what you want to do, and try to live life on your terms as much as possible. It doesn't mean you have to do nothing illegal or immoral. If you don't want to, live a certain lifestyle, or when you want to live a certain lifestyle, try and be honest or try to be more direct as much as possible, so you don't have to lie to people. You know, and that's pretty much it. Is the red pill good? To a certain point, yes. But do I agree with everything they do? No. But as a human being, especially as an adult, you have to be practical who you are and accept your reality and do things to improve it. Money can only do so much if you're not correct up here in your mind. Okay, you don't good morals and ethics. It's not going to work. Money only goes so far. And the best example of that actually is a guy called Mazzy on the Pop the Balloon. He's just a guy with money. I'm far from rich anyway, so I have a basic job. But just do what you can to improve your life, okay? Consistent improvement is better than overnight perfection.